I'm going to be answering one of your art questions about enlarging a reference photo that you want to trace. Hi, I'm Lisa, the artist behind Lachri Fine Art. Aaron writes, I'm getting into graphite pencil drawing and I just ordered my first set of Faber-Castell polychromos. Here's my question. If your reference photo is a 4x6 photograph but you want to draw it onto a 9x12 piece of paper, how do you enlarge it? I've been using a light box to help me trace my initial outline, but it's always been whatever size my reference picture was. Thank you. You've got a few ways you can go about doing this. One, load your reference photo onto your computer and trace directly from your computer monitor. I have a video showing you how to do that. It's an old one, but it's the same information. That's one way you can go. That's one of the easiest ways that you can do this. The next would be by using a projector, where you take the smaller image and project it onto a larger surface, which is great for when you're really enlarging something. The third way would be to set up a grid and draw it yourself. Now, grids aren't my favorite way to work. I would rather freehand something without a grid, but it is an option that a lot of people like, where you draw out your grid on your reference photo and then you draw out the grid just in a larger scale on your photo. And then you just match each individual box from one to the next, and it can make it easier to keep your work within proportion. A lot of artists like to work that way. Of course, there's freehanding, but I don't think that really applies to what your specific question is. So if I were in your position, I wanted to trace something, I would just trace it from the computer screen. It's the easiest way to go. It's something that most people have access to. Wow, that was a super short question. I feel like we could add an extra question into this one. Let's see what we've got. Joanne Smith writes, when teaching classes, do you have to have artwork for them to do, or do they bring what they are working on? I teach colored pencils and I find it hard to come up with new projects that are good for my beginners and don't hold back my more advanced students. It depends on how you want to structure your class. And that was the same problem that I ran into. I got to the point where I was doing paint along classes where everyone's painting the same thing and following along with me, and I had my more advanced students would be so far ahead of the slower, newer students, it was causing a bit of a problem. So you can either set up separate classes for beginners and some for advanced, but I probably personally wouldn't go that way because you end up just spending more time teaching the same amount of students. In most cases, you're not going to fill both classes. So what I did is that I had everyone work on their own project. I would bring reference materials with me for students to choose from if they didn't have their own. But if they did, they were more than welcome to bring something from home they wanted to work on. And I always encouraged them to bring several options, because I would be able to easily say, okay, this is good for you in your medium and what level you're at, versus this one's probably too advanced or this one's too basic for you. So if they could bring in 2, 3, 4 different reference photos for me to look at and choose which would be best for them, that worked out really, really well. Plus, it helps to keep the students interested because it was something they brought in, something they were interested in painting or drawing. And for my classes, I used to have it where everyone just worked on their own project. No one was working on the same thing. So I might have this person over here working in graphite on a horse, and this person over here in colored pencil on roses, this person over here oil painting landscapes. I mean, I would have everyone work on their own project, and I just walked around the class and helped everyone individually as needed. That worked very, very well for me, but I can't say that it's the absolute, this is how you should always teach a class. It just depends on how you want to structure yours. But for me, I definitely seem to have happier students when I let them choose what they wanted to do, and I just helped walk them through what steps they needed to complete that project. I have a frequently asked questions page over on my website. If you cannot find the answer to your question, there is a section where you can submit your own question to be featured in one of these videos. I will have a card pop up here so you can check that out. Hey, wait, don't leave. I know it was the end of this video, but I have over 600 videos here on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on this side if you have not already, and it'll make it easier for you to keep up to date with all 5 new art videos I put out every single week. I'll see you Saturday.